Okay, hello everyone, how are we doing? So here today we're going to be playing some Living End here. Had a bit of fun last week with some Rhino, Shardless Rhino fun, crushing footfalls. And yeah, this deck's obviously been putting up very good results. So yeah, we're going to continue to play some really powerful decks in the format. And yeah, here we are today with this one. Alright, so a little bit of a different land base here to what we were using on the other one. We've got Botanical Sanctums and Spire Bluff Canals here, so those will help conserve your life total a little bit. We're also only running 20 lands. Because you've got all of these cycling creatures, you will be able to cycle to your lands, to your combo pieces, all of that sort of stuff fairly well. So yeah, there's not much to say about the deck. You get to a 3-mana Cascade spell, either Violent Outburst at instant speed or Shardless Agent at sorcery speed. And then you cycle your Cascade across and into the Living End with CMC of 0. Play exiles all cards from their graveyard, then sacks all creatures they control, then puts all cards exiled this way onto the battlefield. So basically your graveyard gets exiled, the board gets wiped, and then the exiled pile that was previously in your graveyard will go onto the battlefield. Basically a board wipe and a board swarm all in one. Okay, so we've got Force of Negation as protection, particularly when going off during our opponent's turn. Brazen Borrower as, I guess, a little bit of main deck interaction, but lots of 1-mana cycle effects with the Curator of Mysteries, Architects of Will, Glassdust Hulk, Windcooler Aven, Striped Riverwinder. And we've got a 2-mana one here with the Walker of Waves as a 1-drop, and the Street Wraith here as a 0-mana one. With the sideboard, we've got access to Leyline of Sanctity for aggressive decks like Burn. We've got access to Mystical Dispute for decks with counter magic. We've got access to Leyline of the Void for graveyard decks such as the Mirror Match. And Foundation Breaker to deal with artifacts and enchantments. So that is a destroy effect on Foundation Breaker. Yep, so that is the deck, everyone. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Just while I'm here, while I'm like loading up for my league, I should definitely go across and update my Stream Decker for anyone that's using Twitch. So just export a deck list and do all of that. Doesn't look like we've found an opponent just yet. Should really at least do the first one of these before I start the stream. Looks like we have found our first opponent. Alright, looks like first match we've lost the Darrell versus Yui. Now this is actually my first time playing the Living End as well, but I'm guessing if you at least have 2 lands and some cycle pieces, you don't necessarily need the Shardless Agent in hand. Got like 1 card to cycle here. This, I would actually say, is much more borderline to keep than if you had multiple Cascade effects. I think I am going to keep it though. Even if it's a little bit slow, a little bit reckless. I'm on the draw. Hopefully we hit that 1-mana cycler. Opponent with Dragon Raid's Channeler. So this looks like a prowess deck here. Find Shardless Agent. Alright, I might be pitching one of these Shardless Agents to Force of Negation to stop like a Manamorphose, slow our opponent down. Mishra's Bauble, sure. Serum Visions is still fine. I'd prefer to protect my combo than interact with Mishra's Bubble or Serum Visions. His cantrips aren't really that important. Another Serum Visions. So first Serum Visions was one top, one bottom. This Serum Visions... His creature's got 3/3 already. 2 to the bottom on the second Serum Visions. So we're going to need access to green mana most likely. Let's get our Breeding Pool. Bring it in tapped. Alright, it's a bit better than what we had. So the big question is whether or not we want to do the 2 mana cycle or do a 1 mana cycle and potentially look to maybe cycle multiple creatures this turn. I think I'm going to go for the 1 mana cycle and really try to high roll this one. I guess actually Walker of Waves lets me set up for a better future cycle. Alright, let's go Walker of Waves. Put this one into my hand. Sure. Land. We break on land. Cycle this one. Look to make our land drop. Alright, cycle this one. Look to make our land drop. Come on, deck. Help a brother out here. Fuck. Oh, I couldn't have done too much different. I did bottom a land instead of getting my third cycler, which was Glass Dust Hulk. Feel like we're getting punished for some bad reasons there. Mostly just our keep. I reckon was a bit greedy. Opponent 2 damage to us, returning Brazen Borrower. Discard a Living End. You can't really ever cast it, especially seems how. Do not have black in the deck. Alright, take a little bit. We're going to definitely control board state, mana-wise, all of that stuff. And we're in like so much trouble here just because we're not hitting our land drop. I don't really think we get to wait on the Steam Vents there. We need to be like a little bit worried about Lightning Bolt as well. If my opponent flashes in Brazen Borrower, I guess we've got to deal with one of the creatures. No instant speed Brazen Borrower. See what sort of counter magic my opponent might have. Really? We just got the bounce off then. It's interesting. Well, we're not out of the woods just yet. Opponent setting up with another Serum Visions. So this seems like the most Delver sort of style deck you can have. I mean, maybe he's going for Delver, but there's a large likelihood that Dragon's Rage has just replaced Delver. Double Force Negation. So currently we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 creatures in the graveyard. And we can go off at instant speed, so let's go for that. Set a stop there. In our opponent's upkeep. Yep. Apparently it went to draw instead of upkeep then. I think I clicked yield until upkeep. I was trying to turn that yield off. It didn't really want to work. Since we're in draw step, it's no difference to beginning of combat in my opinion. Maybe a land drop would be the difference. Got double force and negation here. Force negation. Mana efficient counter magic like spell pierce there is a little bit annoying. It looks like we might resolve. Maybe snapcaster spell pierce. Tarfire to face. Sure. It's like Tarfire Colligan's command. We can just deal with the Colligan's command. Lightning bolts. Alright, either we're dead or we're not. Looks like we successfully countered our opponent's stuff though. Yeah, I just casually got 1,000,000 damage on the board. This is super fair. Wowee. One card left in hand for my opponent. Is it a burn spell? Is it really? Fuck. So it's like just one turn too slow on hitting our land drop there. That's really upsetting, really unfortunate. I think, generally speaking, I don't know if I want Leyline of the Void or not. I probably want Mystical Dispute. I think Leyline of the Void might be a bit knee-jerk after getting our face smashed by that creature. On the play, could potentially minus Gemstone Caverns. I think this like whale is maybe just a bit expensive in my opinion. Might remove these Glass Dust Hulks in case my opponent has Artifact Hate in form of Colligan's command. Oops, apologies to anyone watching on YouTube. I've just switched over to the YouTube inclusive chat. I won't be able to see any comments that were previously made though, so apologies if you have been commenting. I not seen it. Alright, well, we see this hand with double Cycler and a Mystical Dispute. I think it's worth a keep. It's not super amazing in my opinion, though. Obviously, the Living End in hand is bad. The Gemstones Mines in Caverns in hand is also bad. Yep, it's just what it is. Yes, the old upkeep stop on my opponent's turn. That guy doesn't quit, does he? I'm like genuinely terrified of this creature. It seems, I guess I don't have any creature removal in the deck. Okay, we find our Cascade effect. It's really good. Note that we also don't need access to red mana with this hand to go off. Such a basic no. Cycle this one. Wow, that feels bad. Is it bad that I'm looking at a living end that puts 10 damage on the board and feeling upset? It's 10 hexproof damage though. Opponent's gonna have a lot of trouble dealing with that. That sucks. Opponent gets to like better scry 1 essentially. I didn't bring in my artifact hate. That's loose. Alright, we probably lose off the back of that. Just gonna go for a Shardless Agent now. Force the cracking of Soul Guide Lantern, or else like this 5/5 is just probably unreasonable. You can also cascade into Living End and choose not to cast it and just keep the Shardless Agent on the battlefield. Alright. I guess, yeah, if he waits on the Soul Guide Lantern though. Oh, actually, Shardless Agent enters after the Living End anyway. We're going to get to keep it regardless. Should note we only have one Living End remaining in the deck. Because, yeah, we only have 3 copies and one of the copies is in our hand. The other copy is in the graveyard. Probably just looking to hardcast Curator of Mysteries next turn. Seems pretty good. A 4-power creature should be hard for our opponent to deal with, but perfectly on curve. Thoughtseize. Perfect Thoughtseize for the moment. It's upsetting. Gonna be like so punished if I draw exactly Violent Outburst this turn. It's one of 4 draws in my deck, so... Alright, let's get Spy Bluff Canal down so that part's not an issue. Do I want my opponent to have a Sprite Dragon right now? I don't really think so. To 1 mana counter it. If he's got Spell Pierce, we just pay them 2 mana. Cool. So Brazen Borrower, not awful. We'll run this one out. No targets for Petty Theft, but the Brazen Borrower is an excellent half of the card on its own. We're realistically like 1 attack off killing our opponent as well. Just counterspell. Sure. So is it like 10 life? It doesn't take very many creatures to finish our opponent off. Alright, they have perfect information about our nothing in hand here. Looks like they bricked on a land drop, so they might actually be drawing some description of interaction here, whether it's counter magic or creature removal. Ah, this Brazen Burrower sticks. That sucks. We are like flooding out pretty ridiculously though in a deck with 20 lands. We've not missed a land drop and still have one in hand. Right on time, Fon. Right on time. Oh, this like feels so bad. Like any creature or a cascade effect would be perfect there. We draw counter magic, which we only had 6 counter spells left in the deck. Feels like really bad beats there. Alright, we finally get a creature. I think the upside of casting this is a little bit higher than looking for a cascade effect. Opponent with counterspell, we're with Force of Negation. Drown in the Lock pretty well kills us. You fucking kidding me? Alright, opponent literally has everything. Whatever. Ooh. Feels bad, man. Definitely not optimally played or optimally kept in the first game, though. Second game really felt like bad beats. Yeah, because we didn't... I don't know if we blindside in Foundry Breakers in a deck that doesn't have Lurrus for like Soul Guide Lantern. It seems a bit odd. But yeah, the fact we didn't board these in meant that our only answer to Soul Guide Lantern, which was destroying our graveyard, was to run out the Cascade effect and just lose it. Alright, so here we are for match number 2. Lost the die roll again. Let's go. Versing Katoriak. This looks absolutely awful. I'm going to mull. This looks a lot better. Let's keep. Easy bottom on the living end. Alright, now this is what I'm talking about. Look at all these cycles. It's much, much better. Alright, looks like a blue style control deck. So let's go ahead and just be a bit safer with our mana. Cool. Violent Outburst, awesome. So at this stage I'm going to look to, during my opponent's turn 4, Violent Outburst. If that fails, I'll Shardless Agent during my turn. Hopefully one of the effects sticks. Opponent opts to the top. It's like perhaps an Esper control deck here. Crack. Land. Cycle. Cycle. Still hitting those mana drops here. Alright, this is pretty reasonable though. We've got triple Cascade. Short of Damnations, I feel pretty good. Like, Kai's Guile seems like way less of an issue. Putting my opponent on Esper control, obviously. Kai's Guile seems way less of an issue than against Bogles for what I hope are obvious reasons. Opponent, Snapcaster Opt in my end step. Scry's top. Alright, here comes the Violent Outburst. Cast the Living End. What counterspell is our opponent holding? Counterspell. You got it. Cycle this one, see what we find, see if that changes my mind on anything. Ah, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Almost out of living ends now as a result of that absolute woeful top deck. Actually, if my opponent counters this living end, that is us out of living ends. No counterspell. Alright, we just have a casual 20 damage on the board here. That's so dumb. This is so stupid, man. I didn't even have to work for that. I literally just get to tap my board sideways and attack. My opponent makes a like token here off Kaya's Guile. We can just bounce it with Brazen Borrower as well. Wow, that's so stupid. Alright, cards I can see myself wanting a Counter Magic and Graveyard Hate. Cards that are weak, probably Brazen Borrower. I think I'll just look to remove the Whale and the Glassdust Hulk. And that will do. Let's get into it. I am not really expecting Chalice of the Void on 0 from my Esper opponent, but that's something that certainly could happen. That blue is very bright. Let's look to tone that down a little bit. Alright, hopefully that's slightly more pleasant on the eyes for you all. So I couldn't quite get myself cutting Gemstone Caverns. I just think it's really strong when you're on the draw. There's probably enough times with this particular mana base as well where I can have blue-red, green-blue, and then just play the Gemstone Caverns as the third land and not be impacted upon. Fun fact, even before Modern Horizons 2 being released, Shardless Agent style decks were almost unwinnable. Sorry, Living End decks were almost unwinnable for Bogles. We just lost all the time. So here we've got a lot of Cascade, but not very much to fill the graveyard up with. It's probably okay against discard. I think we can probably keep. Should note we don't have any green mana currently for either of these cards either. But I guess, yeah, we'll just Gemstone Caverns out. Get rid of Violent Outburst. If my opponent goes for a turn 1 Thoughtseize, we've potentially got Force of Negation here. Cycle this Street Wraith. Alright. Let's just protect our hand. Fuck, and we blank on cycle creatures? That's so dumb. We see 2 new cards and not a single cycle creature, so turn 2 Violent Outburst undermined. Feels bad. Lol. Oh, man. Now that's more like it. Make it look like we're looking for a land. Maybe we can play a different land or something. Okay, this seems fine. Committing 2 creatures to the graveyard isn't too bad. For a semi-reasonable violent outburst. Opponent opting to the top. Cycle the straight wraith instep. Find another violent outburst. Alright. Man, we've not had very good hits here at all, have we? So your two opponents upkeep, I reckon. I'll just fire off this violent outburst now. Look to living end before they potentially have graveyard hate like Kaya's Guile. I guess maybe if I'm playing around Kaya's Guile. Fuck. I wait until I have one more mana. Alright, we lose our graveyard. This token gets wiped. Essentially, yeah, nothing happens after that. Alright, well that was a little bit hasty. Right on time. Drawing on heart. Nihil Spellbomb. Whatever. Looks like we're hardcasting creatures. We'll see if we can find any blue creature ever. Cycle the Street Wraith. Apparently not too much to ask. Oh, how do I like cycle these Leyline of the Voids out of my hand when they're doing literally nothing? That would be really something. We've got 6 mana. We're 1 mana off of getting this one off. Casting it. I sort of think maybe we cycle it just to look for a different creature. We could cycle Violent Outburst, eat up our opponent's mana. Alright, we get the counter on Teferi. That's huge. Fuck me, man. This deck is just not giving us what we need, which is just a creature, man. We're hitting these Leyline of the Voids, and it's really bad for us. Opponent cracks in a Hill Spellbomb. Pays black. Draws a card. Cool. Cast. Alright, 4/4 beatdown. Let's go. I don't know how to draw action at all. Seven lands here, an additional 1 in the graveyard, and yeah, just... just coming up short. That's all we're doing, coming up short. Fuck this. What's the wording on Kaya's Guile? Exile all cards from each opponent's graveyard. It doesn't even target for the graveyard portion of it. That's so dumb. We might like want Leyline of Sanctity to play around discard effects. I think we're less scared of discard effects than what we are Snapcaster Mage type. attrition. I don't know. Maybe we just don't even want Leyline of the Void. It's got like triple Cycler and a Mystical Dispute. I'm going to keep. Cycle the Hexproof one. Draw into those juicy lands. Let's go. Land Leyline and getting flashbacks to last game, which was not the most fun. So preferably if we could get what we have off before my opponent potentially has Kaya's Gale to exile my graveyard, that would be swell. Of course, that would require actually drawing something of relevance, which of course is too much to ask. I guess that's like maybe a little bit hasty doing that way. You can't do much. We've cycled 4 cards to the graveyard and we haven't drawn a single thing we want from it. Oh boy, counter magic. Let's go. So arguments to not have Leyline of the Void in post board here. And they're coming up hard and fast at the moment. Cool. I don't even... We've got 2 fetchable lands left in our deck and maybe like 4 fetches. Hello, Nucalitopus. Our thoughts on Modern 2 Evokers? Some of the Evokers look like pretty strong. I think even the 2-mana one I'm running in my sideboard, man, looks pretty decent. Fuck. Are we like... How many Cyclers do I actually have left in my deck at this point? We can like very, very easily just hardcast off here. Alright. Finally, some action. What are your thoughts so far, Nucal? Nucalipus. The PTS reminds me of like platypus, the way that they like spell that, right? Could be wishful thinking. Alright, here comes the living end. We've got double counter magic back up. Well, you've been drawing like dog shit, that's what you think? That's what I was saying, man. That's what I was saying. But looks like we've won the counter spell war here, short of Force of Negation. I don't know how it's possible to draw like that badly. Opponent just conceded. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because, like, what other evokers did we have? Like, obviously there's the ones which you get to cheat out with the exile effects. Let's pull up a screen real quick. Saturday, Grief, Solitude. I mean, why is no one talking? I just like... Where's my Gatherer? This is irritating. It's like really, really irritating. Still looking for a match here. Maybe endurance. Formation breaker. I'm pretty sure that's the one I'm running in this list, right? Yeah, formation. Oh, foundation breaker is the one I've got here. Evoke. Expansion. Modern Horizons 2. Real easy way to search this out is with an actual search. Alright, so we lost the dial here. Opponent on the play. We've got triple cycle on the draw with 2 lands. Actually, we've got quad cycle and 1 piece of interaction. Looks like a good keep to me. So we've got endurance here. Exile the graveyard. That's very good. Foundation breaker is good. Fury. Fury seems more like a control deck thing than a burn deck thing to me. Grief is obviously pretty good, but card disadvantage. As opposed to a turn 1 Thoughtseize. Wall of Roots. This could be a Yawgmoth combo. Essence Warden? Is this... This has got to be like Yawgmoth combo, right? Nassif was running one of the Fury last weekend in the challenge. Was that in Living End or a different list? I do like the Force Negation. That's really spicy. We need to hit land here or we're going to be kind of upset. I don't think I need a Brazen Borrow or anything of my opponents. I could Brazen Borrow the Wall of Roots to delay them a turn, but then that's delaying us as well. I'm not guaranteed to make that land drop. I also do not yet have a Cascade effect. 4 Architects, of course. Yeah, he was playing Living End. Okay, gotcha. Is that the French guy from Channel Fireball, right? Nassif? How are you supposed to say it? It's like my first time actually playing the deck. I think Subtlety looks interesting as well. But I'd feel better if it did more of what like Aethergust does, right? We hit land. Cycle this one. Hit Violent Outburst. Cool. That all looks pretty reasonable to me. He's yellow. What yellow hat is it? Or Bob the Dog on Magic the Gathering Online? Not sure where he's from. He's maybe he's like Argentinian or something. He's ethnic of some description. It's like a Court of Calling for my opponent. I think I'll let my opponent get this, and then on his upkeep, I probably just Violent Outburst and go hard. You're right, he's French? Okay, cool. Yeah, he does have sort of that appearance as well, right? Sort of that slender face, curly hair, funny looking nose. I don't know. I'm probably sounding quite racist right now without meaning to. I guess I could wait until action or my opponent's attack step here. I don't think I need to stop there on his upkeep. The wave sifter that evokes fire investigating seems pretty trash. You're not judging, stating facts? Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much. I mean, that and he's, like, got an accent, right? Like, I've watched a few of his videos. His accent, for me, personally, is a little bit difficult to understand. It's a little bit strong for me. I had, like, a soccer coach back when I was in, like, under 17s. It was from South Africa. He had a very thick accent himself, but he, as the season went on, we got used to his accent and understood him a lot better. I've got an accent as well. I do. I absolutely do. Probably a very disappointing sounding accent. So I actually got Swamp Walk here, flying, Hexproof here. So what we want to do is cycle our Windcaller Aven, give this one flying, so it can't be blocked. Oh, we've got two of them, do we? Okay, well that makes things super easy then. I feel like that can probably get bottomed. Attack for a whole bunch. I think we put our opponent to 1 or 2. I thought I gave this flying. Huh. I guess we misclicked. I thought I got a second trigger from the one on the board then. Weird. Not super familiar with the deck, obviously. Sort of trying its best to punish me. Do I want to do anything else here? Can bounce Sheriff's Messenger. I guess I can bounce in response to him doing literally anything though. What's basic English anyway? Well, I wouldn't say like it's the whole uppity England style of English, right? British. That'd be fancy English. Opponent turns the board sideways. Just gonna go ahead and petty theft. I don't know how my opponent wins from here. What do you think of the new set so far, by the way? I think it's definitely shaken up modern. I wouldn't say anything's like standing out as particularly broken to me at the moment though. I would say that it's nice to not see Heliod Company just dominating everything. So this definitely seems like a game for Leyline of the Void because my opponent is Yawgmoth combo and utilizes his own graveyard to continuously go off. Urza Saga's a bit on the edge. Actually, yeah, you're probably right there. Urza Saga's a bit silly. I think I'm happy removing Waker of Waves because it doesn't really do anything. I feel like we can trim 1 to 2 Brazen Borrowers as well. I kind of like my Force of Negation. Let's get rid of Glass Dust Hulk. So we'll do a bit of a softer sideboard than what I did in some of the other games. Might catch a ban if the meta is not able to adapt, yeah. It's got like interesting typing though with the enchantment typing, right? I'm sure people could run Suppression Field and completely like main deck Suppression Field if there was a deck that could run that. Completely invalidate Urza's Saga. Ragavan is a bit much in Legacy, I think. As its Dragon Rage Channeler, Blue Red Delver was already top. Oh, Ragavan's the monkey pirate thing, right? I'm going to keep this hand, even though it's a little light on cycles. Yeah, the pirate monkey seems really strong. Alright, and just like that, we have a good number of cycles. Whereabouts are you from? New Calipus? I'm pretty sure I've said your name a different way every time I've said it as well, by the way. Friend of yours plays Affinity, always has. Just go ahead and cycle this one quick. And he said something along the lines of artifact decks in Modern just need something insanely broken to operate, and now they have Urza Saga. Yeah, pretty well. I mean, they definitely have Urza Saga now, I'll tell you that much. I'm your lunch break entertainment. Oh, you're from the Netherlands. Are you enjoying the Euros at the moment, or is soccer not your forte? I've got some very, very good friends from the Netherlands. The Van Mels. Went to kindergarten and primary school with the elder brother who's my age, and played soccer with both the elder brother and younger brother. The younger brother being, what was it, like, he was a couple of days, yeah, like a year and a half or 2 years younger. He actually ended up getting a scholarship and went to America to play soccer though. Did like pretty well when he was over here, and then just got sick of it and threw it all in. Alright, we've got multiple different effects now. Don't see anything wrong with going for... actually, that's slightly worse because now I don't hold up Force of Negation. I probably should have just Violent Outbursted then. Hey, Red Demon, how you doing, man? It's called football, but you don't want to be that guy? Yeah, that's fair. My bad, man. I did, had an English mate in high school that trained me to call it football, and for some reason, I've broken the habit. You're not a football fan. Fair enough. How you doing, Red Demon? Where you from, man? Welcome to the show. Opponent has got quite a few creatures on the board right now. Our life total's a little bit pressed, honestly. Is it football or football? Football would more be referring to indoors. You're from Louisiana in America, I assume. I can't think of any other Louisianas. Are things over in America right now? Yeah. Yeah, football, I think, is referring to an indoor version of the game. Flying, Swamp Walk. Currently, that's 13 damage. No, 14 damage, pardon me. I think we can just two-turn our opponent with a board wipe. Potentially 2. If we Violent Outburst, we can deal 18 damage without casting Living End and not quite kill them. It's 5:30 AM. You're up bright and early, man. Pretty much everyone is still asleep. It's just quiet. Do you get up and watch the sunrise? Myself, I'm a bit nocturnal. It's like 8 p.m. here. I normally stream until 10 or 11 p.m. Australian time. Oh, is my opponent going for a Court of Cooling? Court of Cooling on 1. I don't think I have to be too concerned about that. So we can still instant speed wipe the board in response to my opponent playing something like a Yawgmoth. Alright, and we are indeed doing exactly that. Alright, the Brazen Borrower might actually come in clutch here. I've never gotten how, like, multiple different countries, Australia included, call, like, other sports football. Like, I think there's, like, NHL in America, and in Australia we have, like, Australian rules football, rugby. Everyone wants, like, the football name, despite not always using their feet, which seems a little weird to me. I think we just Violent Outburst here. It should be okay. Whoop his ass. Doing my best, man. It makes so little sense. Oh, yeah, with the football thing. I completely agree. It's the most bizarre thing. What am I doing? I just force a negate that Court of Calling and I win. I'm such an idiot. I have the winning line and I just throw it into the bin. Oh my god. NFL is kind of weird. Oh, I guess NHL is hockey, right? Yeah, I'm a peanut. So now we just die to the Jarrus Messenger trigger. Bad beats, bad beats. It's what we get for playing badly. Really not that sold on Leyline of the Void here. Missouri. Super close game. Oh, that's more Canada, is it? Okay. So once again, I'm probably getting confused. Brazen Borrower just seems kind of bad. Let's bring back in another Glass Dust Hulk. I don't really see us wanting too much else. So we only have one cycle effect here. I've had a lot of games like this which I've lost, so I'm inclined to mulligan. This hand we have 2 cycles. This seems a bit better, and like we're going to keep. I'll bottom 1 Force of Negation. Why am I playing Leyline over Fairy Macabre? Excellent question. I probably could be playing Fairy Macabre. I think there's a very large argument towards that. I don't know. I played it last week. I was playing Shardless, Violent Outburst, Rhino list, and honestly, it did pretty well for me in that particular list. But here, it's not really been doing that much. It's been a little bit lackluster. Cool. Yeah, Fairy Macabre is a good call. I was coming up a little bit short on Graveyard Hate cards that were 3 CMC or greater to avoid Cascade awkwardness. Ignorable Ignoble Hierarch. Sure. Looks like maybe he has 2 mana dorks. Young Wolf. Sure. Alright, a couple of cycle effects here. Hey, we hit our land. Let's go. Loving life. Find more effects. What do we got in our graveyard here? We got 4 power, 5 power, 3 power, and 3 power. I think this is fine, especially given Shardless Agent also sticks to the board. Go ahead and cast that Living End. Opponent will get Young Wolf back, and that will be the worst of it. Don't forget, we can also Petty Theft one of his potential chump blockers. This deck's got to be running the Green Yawgmoth as well, right? It was such like a weird card to print. Also, like low-key disappointed they didn't complete the Horizon Land set. A little bit sad in my opinion. So we've got 18 damage here on the board, right? It's 5, 10, 17 damage on the board. Alright, let's just go ahead and attack, and Violent Outburst for the last little bit of damage. Because if he blocks 5, we can't quite kill him. I don't know if he can actually win if Young Wolf dies here. I think he has to gamble it and take the damage, looking to combo me next turn. Right, so currently we do 4, 7, 10, 12 damage. We can take that up to 14. That's not enough, so it's alright. What sort of decks do you guys normally play, by the way? I normally play aggro decks myself, a little bit of mid-range. Yeah, I'm mostly an aggro player. I feel like Living End sort of plays itself for the most part, though. Alright. So we get the win. 2-1 currently. Living End and Modern. Oh, wow. So your number 1 deck has just become tier 1. That's pretty huge. You play Is It Counter deck? As in... you use counters, or you play like a control deck, which is It Colors? You might be able to tell from the very awkward looking core there. I'm mostly a Bogle player, but you know what? Bogle's fucking sucks at the moment, so... I'm just like throwing away play points playing that deck. It's hard because I think there's going to be spots in the metagame where it might still be an okay call, but the power level of Modern is way too high for that deck. For a deck which is not consistently fast, it's like consistently average. Am I versing the same opponent again here? Guile. This might be the same opponent. We got 3 Cyclos. I'll keep this. But yeah, like Bogles is very uninspiring right now. I definitely recognize this name. Living End's a bit of a dead card in our hand, obviously. Cling to Dust. Is this the Esper opponent again? His name looks way too familiar. I could cycle here. I think it's a weak line. If my opponent... If I cycle into my Cascade effect, just get like a 2 power stronger creature, I think that's a little bit loose. When you play Modern, you tend to use Esper control though? Okay. Are you more Pioneer or Historic? It's more based around the fact, so long as you have 1 mana, you'll not play any cards. Confused. Is that a Modern deck? Historic. Okay, gotcha. I've been... Wow, he took away the Street Wraith there. Maybe he's a bit concerned about the Swamp Walk side of it. I've started looking into Historic, but obviously not played it yet. I downloaded Arena and was playing on it and doing like the set challenges or whatever they were called, the color challenges. And it just decided to like server lag on me on the second challenge, which was very odd. So yeah, couldn't really continue with any of that. You're talking about your commanded earlier. Oh, you're bad? Okay. So EDH is also a format I've just not really played very much. Opponent just played Lurus to hand then. Alright, we'll cycle this one. Cycle this one. Alright, we find the Violent Outburst. Excellent. Opponent Sultai Lurus deck here. I'm a little bit scared of counter magic from them, honestly. I think there's a strong likelihood he Luruses into Misha's Baubles next turn. I don't think I get too punished by playing this instant speed instead of sorcery speed. He plays Noble Hierarch anyway. Have you had any time to look into our Lord and Savior format, Legacy? Oh, man, Legacy is like crazy at the moment. I do watch... I can't remember his name. Is Thrabian U on YouTube. He plays a variety of Legacy decks. I find him quite entertaining. Other than that, I haven't really done much Legacy play or playtesting. Brazen Borrower feels like a mistake. We hit another Violent Outburst. Alright, this whole game feels kind of awkward to me. Phil Gallagher, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, he's heaps good. In I think his second match, second game or third game of his he's got like a green Dark Depths deck that he's playing at the moment, which seems pretty spicy. Alright, we might as well go for a Violent Outburst. My opponent's holding Counter Magic by the looks of things, but I guess we'll just look to exhaust our opponent's hand of it and then play out a second Violent Outburst. I know like Merfolk looks pretty sweet in Modern at the moment. Opponent casts Drown in the Lock, and well, that's gonna be good enough. It's a very sad looking Violent Outburst there. How do I exile my own graveyard? Next level Living End plays, right? I might just go on Brazen Borrower Beatdown here. I'm unsure. My opponent only has access to, or had access to, 2 blue mana between that and the Hierarch. Opponent plays the Lurrus. So go for a Violent Outburst in response to the Mishra's Bauble. This is my last living end in deck. If this gets countered, I have to play fairly. I was also watching a little bit of like 2018, another Drown in the Lock. That's like super feels bad, man. Also watching a bit of GP Richmond, where Reduke was the focus, playing... was like going back a month ago, I was watching it. Playing Legacy. I can't even remember exactly what it was he was playing. 3-color deck. GP Richmond is the best Legacy content on YouTube. Well, there you go. That's why I was looking it up, I suppose. Alright, Brazen Borrower beatdown. You watch it every year. Yeah, I got to, I think it was the 12th round or something of it, and then ended up not continuing for whatever reason. I got distracted by something else or something. I really hate this Lurrus just gets to do this. The difference the play's making here is pretty crazy. So, see what happens when we cast our Brazen Borrower. Probably even more frequently than that, I see. I'm unsure. I think I'm slightly better off here petty thefting the Lurrus rather than playing the Brazen Borrower. If my opponent's got multiple fatal pushes in hand, it's already enabled. I guess it's enabled as soon as he casts it from like the Mishra's Bauble anyway, as soon as he casts that. Every time you take a bath, you put your laptop next to you and turn on GP Richmond. It's like continuously running around beating up on miracles. Alright, well, we can get a stripped Riverwind next turn, so long as it does not get countered. Hey, Sorcery Speed the Brazen Borrower, just so I stick something to the board, but this could be bad. I could just be letting my opponent spend their mana more efficiently and holding up counter magic during my turn. Miracles was the very first deck. Was your very first deck, so you're happy to see it? Yeah. Oh, some of the lines are so interesting that he takes in that tournament as well. It's like, he just goes, alright, I'm losing in 99% of scenarios here, so I'm just going to choose the most outlandish line where I can win and play to that outlandish line. And then he just continuously wins. It's freaking insane. Alright, well, if only this was uncounterable as well. I'm sure people would be having kittens, but I'm going to run it out, see what we can get happening. Look to trade chump blocks with Lurrus, maybe. Alright, that actually resolves. If that's resolved, I'm happy attacking with Lurrus in the air, with Brazen Borrower in the air. I did actually play a little bit of Miracles back in the day. Icefang Quaddle. I'm not like super upset to trade that. That's fine. If he's willing to trade that there, that means he's not trading it with our Hexproof creature. It's like... Iok finds a living end. There you go, opponent. It's all yours, mate. It's all yours. Fuck, that's a board state and a half. Alright, I'm willing to go ahead and concede against a 6-card Sultai opponent with Ice Fang Quaddle and a Mish's Bobble returning from the graveyard every turn. I think that match is just a little bit too far gone. Bring in Leyline of the Void. Bring in Mystical Dispute. Take out Brazen Borrower. I like bringing these cards in every game. Take out Walker of Waves. On the play, I think I can probably minus Gemstone Caverns. Hopefully it does not punish me. And maybe a Glass Dusk Hulk. I sort of feel a little bit sorry for Phil Gallagher with some of the troll decks people submit to him. They look like really sweet in theory, and either they're just like too slow, too clunky, too easy to interact with, and just like end up doing nothing. This hand looks good. We will keep. It's a 1-lander with a 1-cycle creature, but we got the Street Wraith, got Fawn. Opponent activates Mish's Bobble looking at his own library. And it would appear he is happy leaving that card on top. Cycle for Street Wraith for Street Wraith. For Island. Alright, we got to make sure we get green mana for our Shardless Agent here. It's a little bit of a painful turn for us. But not too bad. Alright, Living End, not the best roll. Now we're out of cycles. What the fuck, man? We get 1 land, but then we miss on land. I swear to God, if we lose this match to not curving out, I'm going to be so pissed off. We cycled 3 creatures, 2 of which were in our starting hand. We've got nothing to cycle this turn. Trying to get back to work while watching, but too bad at multitasking. Yeah, no sweat, man. Your lunch break has been over for 20 minutes. Oh, man. Hopefully your work is flexible and they just either let you make up the time some other time or you can just make it up at the end of the day instead. This is... But it goes for the old nothing and we brick. Let's go. Let's go, people. Loving it. Should have left that Gemstone Mines in over the 4th ley line. Would have got there. Nothing like Snap Custom Age beatdown. Seems very odd. I think Mystical Dispute's probably better in hand. Work is flexible for sure, as you are as well, but you need to get back to work nonetheless. Alright, thanks for stopping by, man. Hope you enjoyed it. Good to have you here. Iok. Iok resolves. Takes the Force of Negation. Motherfucker, you gotta be kidding me, man. Every time. Alright, whatever. This is bad content now. I'm sick of this. We're not making our land drops. Our opponent's assembled graveyard hate. We're fucked. Sure, it's like not actually over, but it's effectively over in my opinion. Yeah, there's like such a strong contention for a Fairy Macabre here. if I know how to spell fairy. There it is. I actually have 3 in my collection. Ooh. Could be a better option than Leyline of the Void. I will say there seems to be a fair amount of graveyard hate running around at the moment, which sort of makes sense. I would prefer graveyard hate which doesn't exile my graveyard though. For obvious reasons. Alright, so here we are for match number 5 against Slush. And we're here. We lost the Dire opponent on the play. I think this hand's just edging on a keep for me. With triple cycle, counter magic. I don't know how much I care about this Thoughtseers. I'm not really protecting anything here. So I'll just go ahead and cycle these Street Wraiths, I think. Get rid of our free cycles. Alright, well, that's something. He probably takes Windcaller Aven, maybe he takes Force of Negation. I guess we could have done that and pitched Brazen Borrower to Force of Negation, actually. That probably would have been wise. Make sure we curve out. Yeah, okay. I think I did that wrong. Opponent actually takes the Brazen Borrower. Find Spire Bluff Canal, which means we can search for a basic before searching for our green one. And opponent plays the Noble Hierarch. Is he bricking on land? What is going on? Gotta love those turn 1 Noble Hierarch decks that lead on the Thoughtseers and then miss their land drops. Oof, that's a big oof. Find the Brazen Borrower. Alright. Man, we're flooding out on Force of Negation now, aren't we? There's potential for us to bounce our opponent's Noble Hierarch, but then we're not leading into a cascade effect, so I don't really like that. Opponent goes for Grief. I'm going to crack this. Breeding Pool. Shock. And I am going to cycle. I want to churn through my deck. Cool. We'll put a Misty Rainforest to hand. Let's go. Never missing a land drop again. Might be time to start hardcasting some of these creatures. I wonder if that's a consideration I should have. I should be cycling the higher CMCs first before the lower CMCs. Right, with the Tarmogoyf. Curator of Mysteries to hand. Alright, well hopefully we can dodge another discard effect. What did my opponent exile for Grief, by the way? It was a Vindicate. Interesting. Another Tarmogoyf. Looks like we're getting attacked for 4 here. Gonna feel pretty good once we put our opponent's board into the graveyard. Alright, well we're all sorted for Force of Negations now, thank you, deck. All sorted. We don't need any more of those. That's plenty, thank you. And our creature gets exiled. GG, well played. That's just embarrassing for us, man. That is so embarrassing. Alright. Graveyard Hate. Discard Hate. Don't think we want to worry about our counter magic. Brazen Borer actually seems like decent temple. So we'll trim something like that and get into it. Could be getting greedy on the ley lines here. Could be an absolute masterclass. We'll find out shortly. Does not seem like the... Oh, we got a Leyline of the Void, actually. This is good. I'll keep this. The fact that starts on the board makes me very happy. So already have our lands. We'll get Breeding Pool and then cycle some Street Wraiths. It's like old border Street Wraith is so much cooler artwork wise. Grief. Alright. Take my Street Wraith opponent. Take it like it's hot. Oh wait, did he just give his creature Undying? I think he might have. It's not quite gonna work. Good old replacement effect on Leyline of the Void doing work for us. Curator of Mysteries, good find. So land and pass. Look to hold up triple cycle. Alright, show me some juicy Cascade deck. Fuck me, man. I know I sideboarded in 8 non-Cascade cards. I think I took out 3 Cascade cards here. 2 Gearhulks. 3 Cascade cards I took out. And we're just stuffed. And a Fenza from my opponent. Alright, deck. Show me something not garbage. I'm just that living end guy that just can't buy a fucking win, man. Feels kind of bad. Alright, we might as well cycle because... Cycle, I mean thin the deck. Cool. Alright, well, that one is no good, and neither is our deck. So yeah, nice little win for the opponent there, and not so much for us. I think I want the extra Gemstone Caverns in here, and let's just change the screen for you all. I'm going to run back another leg. I genuinely think the deck is probably stronger than what we showcased just then. I kind of want an extra living end, but I didn't rent it. The amount of times that I'm drawing living end and it's just awful is a little bit crazy. So we got the Fairy Macabre now, which should be good. Gemstone Caverns, taking out Leyline of the Void. Alright, let's run it unchanged other than that. And yeah, maybe a little bit greedy here on the... I don't know, on the sideboard. I don't know. We'll just adjust your screen back to the league. So I wouldn't say this deck is just free wins. I kind of like the interactive element of Fire and Ice. It's on the Rhino version, but you can't really run that in this. The fast lands that save us life are good. Honestly, I think I just need more cascade effects. Maybe some more Architects of Will here. Alright, but we are running it back nonetheless. Alright, match number 1. Won the die roll. Feels like the first die roll win of the day. Alright. I'm going to keep this. Versing Andromeda Deo. Opponent shocking in his steam vents. Is this the mirror or is this something else? As my opponent is currently 1-1. Draw the living end. Why not? Never didn't draw a living end in my life. No cycle from my opponent. Presumably they're holding up Lightning Bolt, especially if that Castle Vantress just came down then. Alright, cycle the expensive one first again. More counter magic, and forget to cycle the second one. Alright, well, looks like we're breaking on land drop anyway. Basically breaking on everything. Go on, show me land, you stupid deck. We're still bricked on Cascade too. Bro, this feels so bad. We have 8 Cascade effects, and we draw one of the 3 combo pieces instead of the Cascade effect as well. Fortunately, we're on the play. Our opponent's obviously not threatening a fast clock. Hopefully... Yeah, how... That's a Magus of the Moon. That's not a Blood Moon. That feels bad. Cycling's a thing, you know. What the fuck, man? What a fucking joke. I'm gonna lose to Mono Magus of the Moon. Alright, there's our land. We're good. Let's go. Ready to play, ready to win. It's Kiki combo? Man, we are so fucked. These Force Negations are so garbage. I mean, we could still draw Island, Cascade. We could just, like, rip dead every turn. That works as well. We can still Violent Outburst is what I was going to say, because we have access to red. Whatever. Whatever. Fucking best game of my opponent's life, I guarantee you. Really, most of our stuff doesn't really do much, in my opinion. Most of our stuff doesn't really interact with our opponent. I could bring in a couple of Foundation Breakers in case they have Blood Moon as well. I think it's unlikely. Like, Blue Moon decks normally only run 2 copies of Blood Moon. Maybe 3 if they're super in love with the card. Dispute? Really? Okay. Alright. No, it's too late. It's gone. The question is, what am I taking out? Because I don't love taking out my combo pieces if I was to bring in the dispute there. Hand is awful. Hand has 3 cycle effects and is a lot better. Autumn, Spy Bluff Canal. If it goes to a game 3, Alaska, what would you be taking out for the dispute? It counters Magus on the play. Oh, I guess if I'm casting for exactly 3 mana, yeah, you're on something there. That makes sense. Alright. Cool. Find a Botanical Sanctum after finding our other Botanical Sanctum. Now, you're also assuming I can get to 3 mana, which is not, surprisingly, not really being the case that often tonight. I like it though, it's a decent call, man. Valakut Awakening is also good. Yeah, I don't have that in this list. I was playing it in my shardless Rhino list. But, yeah, I didn't put it in this one because I was going off of somebody else's mana base. Alright, make him have the counterspell. It's very high likelihood, right? We still get a shardless agent though, so that's not awful. Alright, and there's the blood, man. Alright, well, I'm just fucking very wrong with my calls all day. Might be able to hardcast this one. Won't be able to hardcast the Architects of Will. Don't worry, we're drawing our living ends. Cut 2 Borrower for Dispute. Yeah. Good news is we're making our land drops this time. Opponent happy to take the damage. End of turn Pessamite. Are we getting Kiki Jiki'd? I mean, I can't do shit about that if we are. I guess I could also hardcast to counter Kiki Jiki. What are we doing with the opt? Ops to the bottom. He just has it. Cool. I guess we could draw Brazen Borrower. Give this Pessamite, which has flying, some more flying. Force negation, not really going to do anything. Cool. Alright, well, we just concede. We just lose. Cool. As we are finding out, maybe I didn't sideboard quite the best. What are your thoughts on my sideboard cards, Alaska? Do you think that there's better cards that I could have in the place over there? Swap some things out. Like 4 Foundry Breakers seem a little bit excessive to me. I think against Chalice of the Void, if that was all I was expecting, it's not that bad. But if I'm versing Relics, Soul Guide Lanterns, and Nihil Spell Bombs, which is what I've seen so far, it seems less good to me. I think I am soft to creature decks. Like, I don't really counter creatures very well. Maybe cut Force also for a dispute. I kind of like Force of negation because it allows me to violent outburst in my opponent's turn on curve and hold up counter magic. I could definitely see an argument for cutting it though. That was my logic behind keeping it in though. So yeah, like, so far what I'm finding with this living end as well is like way worse to have in hand than Crushing Footfalls is, because at least you can suspend Crushing Footfalls. And as you were saying, Valakut Awakening would be good because it lets you recycle them into your deck. What did I do with my water bottle? It is over here. Waker of Waves? I did see that card. What is, Oh, as in, like, why is it in the deck? It was on a list that I just picked up to play. It might not be the best list, honestly. I think the land base seems mostly okay. I did include the Gemstone Caverns. Those weren't originally in the land base. Alright. We've got, like, 2 cycle creatures, 1 land here. I think this is a mulligan, in my opinion. Versus Kensuke. Cut it? Okay. I mean, I can definitely play another Architects or another Living End instead. Like, a lot of that makes sense. Alright, we're mulliganing again. Fuck, what is with us and drawing these Living Ends, man? This really sucks. I think, like, mulligan to 5, I don't feel good about this hand, but I don't know if I'm going to see anything that's that much better. So, bottom Living End, bottom Force of Negation, keep the rest. Valakut Awakening is a one-of. You think that's good enough? I mean, it probably is. My main issue is it enters tapped. I really don't like the fact it enters tapped. I'm going to cycle this, look for a blue card, have some sort of a graveyard. Yeah, I feel like Brazen Borrower is good enough to pitch to protect the Violent Outburst. Alright, not what we're looking for. Not a creature, nor red mana. Very soft to discard right now. And there it is. GG, well played. I guess we're getting close to hard casting stuff. This one is not going to be easy to hard cast though. I will be cycling this the old-fashioned way. It's further non-land part, yeah. I think it's kind of slow because you have to cast it at 3 mana. Man, we are drawing so shit. What the fuck, man? Oh, I feel so bad. Alright. I'm just gonna bluff and leave the Gemstone Caverns in hand. Is it sorcery or instant? It is an instant. Okay, well that's not too bad, really. Opponent finds Lightning Bolt. Honestly, I don't know if we're going to have a better target for this, so let's just go ahead and counter. My opponent doesn't have a companion, so they might have Liliana of the Veil. I don't know. I'm like way too far behind to... I guess there's an outside chance now. Any Cascade effect is good. Question marks to countering the Lightning Bolt. You see my life total and my opponent's board state? What the fuck is this? Human Cleric protection from white. When it enters the Whenever an opponent discards a card, put a 1/1 counter on it. When it enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, target opponent discards 2 cards at random. So this is the 4 mana him to Turak, essentially. With Pro White. Gotcha. Take 10, go to 1, dead to Lightning Bolt. You gonna roll me like that, opponent? I guess it's not really slow rolling. Lightning Bolt and wins the game. I mean, yeah, okay. Mulliganing against these sorts of decks fucking sucks. I don't really think we want Force of Negation. I think we'd prefer Leyline of Sanctity over Force of Negation in my not so humble opinion. Fairy Macabre could do stuff. Mystical Dispute doesn't seem very good. We probably want to bring in a couple of Foundry Breakers just for Nihil Spell Bombs. White Leyline in. You got it. Brazen Borrow out with the Walker of Waves and whatever else. Alright, we'll go with that. Good old no landers with double living hand in hand. Jesus Louises. Alright, we'll keep. Oh, that is not going on the bottom. I will put Street Wraith on the bottom. Maybe it's Foundry Breaker, maybe it's Street Wraith. I feel like it's safer to put Street Wraith on the bottom. Actually, you know what? Let's get rid of Architects of Will. It dies to Colligan's command, where the other things do not. Stop Spellbomb also? Yeah, good call. Oh, it does too. So I don't need the Foundry Breaker at all. I'm an idiot then. Oh, God. I have kept a very suboptimal hand. It does target a player. Opponent with Leyline of the Void for free. Okay. We might need to try and find a Brazen Borrow. I did side 1 out, which is a little bit awkward. And you're the genius. Wait, what am I talking about? Yeah, I can destroy his stupid Leyline. What am I thinking? I'm so tired. I should not be playing Magic right now. Absolute peanut mode at the moment. Can we hit a land drop? I am getting very punished right now. I just shouldn't even crack that fetch land. I think I leave the rest in hand, wait to draw green mana. Font Stress. Still a game. Yeah, oh, don't stress. Don't stress, gotcha. I just I don't know. I just hate doing everything bad and then 3 or 4 seconds later realizing you've just done the shittest thing. Ashiok. I fucking hate you, opponent. Now my fetch lands are turned off. I don't have any Force Negations to counter this either. Let's look for land. I don't know, how much slower I should be playing. I've cycled 4 creatures and hit a basic island, and that's it. Opponent's literally done nothing but play an Ashiok as well. It's not a 2-a-day. Words of advice. Opponent playing this without kicking it. Oh wait, this isn't the kicker one. This is the other one. Got it. Oh yeah, mate. You better believe I'll just draw anything that is not action. Maybe I'm supposed to cycle the stripped Riverwinder there for land to try and hit Foundry Breaker so I can untap into Violent Outburst. But this card sucks so much. This is like main deck graveyard hate against us. We're not winning unless we hardcast creatures now, so I guess cycling this doesn't matter at all, even slightly. It's just wise. Cool. We actually hit something. Alright, so living a violent outburst into living end instant speed. Then I probably, hopefully, can hardcast Foundation Breaker, destroying the ley line. Were you wanting me to wait, actually, and go after the ley line? Maybe I could have. I just don't have anything in my graveyard, so... I guess my opponent will get back a better graveyard. Significantly better graveyard. Can, like, Shardless Agent and not cast Living End? I think I like that. Alright, I'm sure there's a plethora of removal coming Shardless Agent's way. And that's another card we're not going to get in the graveyard. So we got one Living End left in the deck. Some of our stuff's just dead. Colligan's Command. My opponent is operating very well out of his graveyard, much better than what I would have expected. Finds Ignoble Hierarch. Is that the green-black cycle creature? It's the Noble Hierarch, but in Jund colors. I'll make it a bit bigger so you can see. Exalted taps for Jund colored mana. Oh, is there a green-black cycle creature? Sorry, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not super familiar with Living End decks, if I'm being honest. With 12 green creatures, the plan would be Force of Vigor. True. True. Green, blue. There might be a green blue one, actually. I feel like I need to Fuck, he's killing it before I get a block. So I just go to 1. That feels bad. You speak Dutch? You're still speaking better English than what I am most of the time, man. Don't feel too bad. Alright, this time we will cast the Living End, though. Opponent's able to just tap these and Living End or Violent Outburst me. Even though I get into a good spot here, I'm just screwed. I can't search my library, so there's no point activating that. And yeah, opponent has thoroughly smacked us, so I'm gonna go ahead and concede. Of course, there is a green new cycler. You're a goose. What's it called, man? I'm not remembering any card names right now. I guess I can just do a quick search over here, actually. So I can have cycle. Or is it called cycling? Blue, green, both color identities. Still waiting for my next match. Cycling 3 mana. Oh, there's the red green one, Deadshot Minotaur, for enters the battlefield, deals 3 damage to target creature with flying. Good Deadshot Minotaur. Just looking mostly at whichever ones are cheap and discounting everything else. Yeah, I think it's just Deadshot Minotaur, actually. Maybe if I get rid of the blue identity and just do the green color identity only. Oops, we have found our opponent. Alright, versing Aerostar here for match number 3. See, I really don't like a hand with 1 cycle effect, but we do have 2 mana already. Just awkward because we might not get a very good graveyard. Looks like we're versing Tron with the Gigantho Companion. I could potentially Brazen Borrow my opponent's Expedition map and buy myself a little bit of extra time. I think, honestly, I just want something a little bit stronger. Like, we can hit Street Wraiths as well and just have a much better hand. This hand is strictly worse. Apparently, I have no creatures with cycling in them in my deck for some reason. Alright, we'll keep this one. We might actually want Force of Negation. Let's ditch Architects of Will. We have to put 3 cards on the bottom. Fuck, we can't keep a Force of Negation then. It seems way too greedy. Yeah, I remember the original Living End used to run Deadshot Minotaur before all the good blue cycling creatures got printed, right? Opponent goes into Serum Visions. This could actually just be a Niv Mizzet Reborn deck instead, which is highly likely. It's one of the other decks that can run Gigantha. Tarmogoyf. Alright, I am very confused. We find the Shardless Agent. I do like that. Alright, so great find. Force negation to potentially hold up. And run out our stuff. Alright, now that's a board state. Opponent concedes. So we see Team Colors and Gigantha as a companion. Right. Mystical Dispute. I think that's it. Taking out Walker of Waves. And probably Brazen Borrower. I might actually bring in the Gemstone Caverns for an extra Brazen Borrower. No, too slow. Okay. We find a Gemstone Caverns hand anyway, and we can exile the Living End to it. Okay, this actually works out pretty good. We get double cycle turn 1 into potentially a turn 2 Cascade. Long as we make our land drop. Mishra's Bauble from my opponent. Targeting himself. Suppose he likes that card because Breeding Pool has made its way to the battlefield. Mystical Dispute, great find. Thoughtscour targeting himself. It's indicative of maybe hooting Mandrills. I'm going to go ahead and response cycle my Curator. Not that it really does anything. So we're still looking for a third land here. Opponent's still a little while away from hooting Mandrills. I think it's Delve 5. Maybe it's Delve 6. I think it's 5. Alright, what is this cascading to? A Thought Scour. Yep. No green-blue cycle card. Righto. That seems odd. Opponent playing Endurance, which can evoke exiling green card to exile an opponent's graveyard. No, it puts them on the bottom of their owner's library. Honestly, that's pretty good tech against us. I guess we'd have to settle for... what's it called? The red one. The green-red one. Whatever. I'll find it again later on. These 0 mana evoke cards are creatures of bullshit. I hate it. It's ridiculous, man. And we break. Triple cycle, brick on land, and cry home. Why not 2 Force of Vigor, 2 Evokers? I think you can do that. That seems fine. Again, this was a list that I saw published somewhere and I just picked it up and played it. Honestly, I think from what I am gathering like so far. Oh, fuck that shit, man. Soul Guide Lantern can get force negated. From what I'm gathering so far with the deck, I actually think it's less fun than the one that's running Crushing Footfalls and has interaction via Brazen Borrower, Bone Crusher Giant, and Fire Ice at turn 2. Opponent, mono weird creatures. Cool, we hit our mana. I'll go ahead and cast Shardless Agent now. See if our opponent has the Evoke. It does not look like it. They can respond to the Living End, but... Oh, wait, did they actually get it? No. Oh, they just get to exile now that that's entered the battlefield. Gotcha. That is a different deck. That's the deck that I was playing. I played it twice, and I think I prefer it to this deck. Alright, opponent with Shardless Agent. So our main advantage is flying here, and opponent's got a reach creature. So that's not great for us. I guess it's a different deck, but it's got similarities because it's running the Violent Outbursts and the Shardless Agents. Just another option. I don't know if it's as powerful, but I definitely prefer it from what I've seen so far. Alright, I'm going to attack with all of these guys and see what my opponent chooses to do. Alright, so here I'll just go ahead and Violent Outburst. And choose not to cast the Living End, but to buff my creatures. And I get to deal 5 damage. I get to kill Tarmogoyf. I get to kill the Endurance thing as well. Mostly just happy Tarmogoyf's off the table though. Dragon Rage Channeler, Bloodbraid Marauder. Opponent plays Abundant Harvest, that can resolve. I have Dispute. I currently have Dispute, yes. Should also be noted that the Adventure deck is a lot more expensive to rent from mana traders. Alright, we'll let the Shardless Agent trigger resolve. Opponent finds an Ancestral Vision. Ancestral Vision seems a bit better than the Shardless Agent here. Let's go ahead and Mystical Dispute the Ancestral Vision. Attack for lethal. I think I'm happy holding Scalding Tarn here. Sorry, holding Violent Outburst here. I don't see that much of an advantage putting my opponent to 1. So Abundant Harvest is interesting when they've got Ancestral Visions. Seems like kind of good value. Soul Guide Lantern is fine. Imagine he's probably going to use the draw effect from Soul Guide Lantern. Correct. And we'll attack with our Curator of Mysteries. Wait, what is Bloodbraid Marauder? Wait. Okay. Bloodbraid Marauder is a 2-mana creature which cannot block and has Delirium. It gives the spell Cascade as long as there's Delirium. Not super fantastic. Not super awful. I don't know. Weird card. Opponent finds the Tarmogoyf. I mean, Tarmogoyf doesn't have flying. I am very okay with that. Should be noted, if I'd Violent Outburst did a couple of turns ago, my opponent wouldn't have been able to fetch the fetch land, do the Soul Guide Lantern, and play the Endurance as a blocker. Thing gets flying all of a sudden. Oh man, this sucks. Oh, am I really getting this punished? Yeah, look at these draws, man. Literally just drawn mana for the last, like, 4 draws. Opponent currently has access to 9 damage. So I actually have to Violent Outburst, wipe the board, if he realizes how much damage he has. Oh, this feels really bad. Guess I didn't tap for red yet. Wow, wait, look at that board state. I'm just dead regardless then. Fuck, I did not realize he had that many creatures in his graveyard. Need a haste cycle creature, that's what I need. Cycle? Question mark? So I've cast, what, 1 Living End? I could potentially get rid of my opponent's graveyard, get back my Curator. Sure. Alright, so now we have the only creature with flying on the board. We can block Tarmogoyf with Shardless Agent and look to attack and win. And we're dead to Lightning Bolt, but not Shock. Free spells. Good job, Wizards. I fucking drew another one of these things. Are you kidding me? That feels bad. Well, I was about to say I was not drawing gas. My opponent was saying we're both drawing gas for several turns, and I guess Brazen Borrower is a testament to that. Because that was pretty wild. GG. Oh god. Wow. One of the most back and forth games in recent memories. Think my opponent might be onto something there. We could have won that. We could have won that with the Violent Outburst like 3 turns earlier. I think it was risky to put him to 1. Way more risky than holding the Violent Outburst. Hard versus unsoft. Yeah. Gotta make sure you don't boil your Magic games, or they'll go too hard and you won't be too happy. Alright, match number 4. Won the Darrow on the play versus Chicken and Ruffles. And our opening hand is pretty atrocious. Let's throw it away. This hand is looking a lot better with two cycle effects and a piece of interaction. We will keep. I think we bottom land here. Alright, cool. Fetch, Shock, Breeding Pool. The old uncounterable cycle thing. Find the Shardless Agent. Alright, and suddenly we're actually hitting what we want, and life is good. And with an opt. Alright, cycle 1. Where is our land? Cycle 2. Cycle 3. Cycle 4. Alright, no land for us. Hey, land, let's go. Well, I guess we make them have the counterspell, so... This is just a little bit absurd. If we actually get to resolve this, that is just stupid. Alright, opponent with counterspell. Still get a Shardless Agent though. Hedron Crab. Another Hedron Crab. Is this Mill or is this Vengevine? Fabled Passageway. Opponent is targeting us. And then targeting themselves with the Rune Crab, I believe. Probably one of the less impressive matchups for Mill. That is how the deck works, yes, but he's choosing where possible to mill himself instead of us, I think. No, he didn't. Those would be more cards in the graveyard. Odd, odd, odd. What's in our graveyard currently? We've got 1 living end in the graveyard. 2 violent outbursts. I think Cast Curator of Mysteries is just correct. So we'll do that. Then we'll, as indefinitely as possible, hold up our Force of Negation from this point. Field of Ruin is actually live at shutting us off red here. I am going to say no to that. Fraying Sanity, not keen. Creature Beatdown. Opponent suspends my freaking Curator of Mysteries. What is this game? At least it gets haste when it comes back in, right? That's got to be relevant. Alright, get in there, Shardless Agent. Fight that good fight. We literally just need to stick, like, 1 effect, though. One living end, and our opponent would pretty well die. Cast a Brazen Borrower. Alright, there's our last Violent Outburst. Cast this one. Find the Petty Theft. Probably better off Petty Thefting the Fraying Sanity. Hopefully he goes greedy and for the second Field of Ruin here, and then we can Petty Theft. I guess I should have floated mana, actually. That's pretty loose. That's that thing. Down to 0 cards in hand and lose anyway. Okay, it literally didn't matter. Cool. Just gonna go out on a limb and say Counter Magic is good and Leyline of Sanctity is good. Walker Away is bad. Brazen Borrower seemed very, very average. Maybe there's an argument for some number of copies, but I'm honestly not sure how many numbers that would be. Having trouble deciding on any cuts in particular here, so I think all Brazen Borrowers, Gemstone Caverns. And maybe just one of my weaker creatures like Glass Dust Gearhulk. Alright, what we really need is a good explosive hand. Let's see what we do, what we get. Perfect. GG, well played, easy. It's one of those Leyline of Sanctity kind of days. Should be noted that our opponent can still get us with one of the crabs. The newer crab with 3 toughness mills each opponent. Cut keep. What do you mean by keep? Of course, I'm now in the game, sorry. There's a bit of a delay. Keep. Yeah, still not sure. Opponent concedes. It's okay. Opponent. So, am I subboarding any differently, Alaska? We've got a little bit of time here. Big old lulz. I guess Gemstone Caverns becomes quite good as a land for us. A Hulk out? Okay. It's like count our cycle effects, right? Just to make sure we're not going super light on them. Because we've got 18 here. 18 cycle cards. I think I want double gemstones. Maybe a living end out, but then we might be soft to having them milled. We might also be soft to our opponent just milling it and surgicaling it anyway, though. Might minus a flooded strand. Alright, so... this hand is so troll. You reckon keep? Alright, we'll keep. Telling my opponent, it was hate for burn, and he's like, yeah, I figured. Another rune craft, lol. Mystical Dispute's got no power here. Find the Street Wraith, that's not bad. Guess Mystical Dispute could have some power. Fucking living into the grave already? Oh god. He conceded the previous one. Yeah, he said he had triple of the 2-drop crab. It's a flying crab. Look out. Crab beats. Oh, Street Wraith, not bad. I'm trying really hard to make sure I have access to both red and green mana next turn. My deck's really not helping me very much though. So with my opponent milling 2 Botanical Sanctums there, I think we can go out on a limb and say Breeding Pool is the more correct land to go for here as opposed to Steam Vents. He's doing that. Fuck. His force negations look so awful. It's mono crab mill and I'm stuck on mono blue mana. Nope. Alright, now I'm sort of praying for Shardless Agent because it's easier to hit just green mana than hit 2 types of mana. I don't know. I don't think we care about ops as much as I feel like firing off some counter magic. We're probably just going to end up holding up mana next turn anyway, though, since we're bricked on so many lands, so feels bad. I've also actually playing that island has made it so that I've turned off my fast lands. Shardless Agent. All right. Here's all my mana. You have to assume we're going to face Counterspell as well at this point. Our opponent's not holding... I guess they can be holding up mill effects, but... Ditch a Violent Outburst. It is the hardest card in our hand to cast. Ghost Quarter going after his own land. That's one way to trigger this landfall. Make us cry. Bro, give me my mana. This is bullshit. I don't want to play this game anymore. I'm down to 18 cards. I can't make a fucking land drop. Oh my god. Mm-hmm. Double crab. Alright, this party begins now, people. The party begins now. I'm sorry, we can't have too much fun. Crabs are ruining our day. Alright, one more turn. Realistically, we're milling 6 to a single crab, to a single land. So, like, one more land and we're screwed anyway. We might have actually lost both our living ends because I sided one out, right? I didn't side any out. Okay. Let's cast our living end here. Counterspell. Mystical Dispute. He's holding up 3 mana. Okay. Okay. We want to make sure there are no lands on top of my opponent's library. Although he's lost his creatures, so lands don't matter. Phantasm is fine. So we literally just put them back in any order. Essentially. Where's the point where my creatures get haste? Because I've got like 300 million creatures. Phantasm. This is quite an absurd amount of damage on the board right now, man. Holy crap. We did not deserve to win that one. Opponent holding Suspend, Fraying Sanity. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player mills 2 cards. And Archive Traps. Fuck. He could have played for it. I mean, yeah, he literally just had to tap 3 mana and he actually won. I guess he thought Mystical Dispute was just a hard counter. Maybe one of those mental shortcuts. Dude, that was so stupid. This deck's actually so stressful to play. It's ridiculous. Oh, I definitely prefer my Rhino deck. Alright, here we are. Match number 5 versus Hummingbird. And opponent won the die roll. We're on the draw. We do have a Gemstone Caverns hand, though. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep. Can get a pretty quick Shardless Agent happening. So the decision is whether or not to exile the Brazen Borrower or the Force of Negation to Gemstone Caverns here. So my opponent was last seen 11 days ago playing Death Shadow. I think I'm going to ditch the Brazen Borrower. Play Ad Nauseam, no stressy. You would think you don't have to stress, but here I am, and that's almost all I'm doing, man. Double Welding Jar for my opponent, who's obviously on an Affinity deck. With the Urza's Mine. Get those forced negations happening. Let's go. Spire Foundry for my opponent. Alright, nothing too crazy busted just yet. Cycle. Bruh. Want to end on a positive note, please, deck. Not whatever you've got in mind. But hey, we drew the land on top. Hurrah, all is good and right with the world. We'll go ahead and Cascade, Living End, get some guys back. Force Negation to interact with our opponent. I'm going to look at my own library here. Do it instant, you reckon? I'm not, like, entirely sure about that. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to go Violent Outburst, then Steam Vents, then Aven. That way I can cycle one and still Violent Outburst for extra attack. I don't know if I get much more doing instant speed, honestly. Alaska. Nettle Cyst. Yeah, that's a hard no from me. 2 cards in my opponent's hand. He concedes. Alright, cool. So, Foundry Breaker in. So, Force is in work. Yeah, Force is putting in the work. I agree with you there. I see an argument for Force and Negation. I also see an argument for Mystical Dispute. Mystical Dispute deals with their Thought Monitor, like the creature version of Thoughtcast, where Force and Negation deals with things like Nettle Cyst. Overall, I think Brazen Borrower is probably just a little bit weak. and the card I most want to take out. And Mystical Dispute is like a maybe. You want it in his turn. I guess I can cycle away more during his turn. That's a decent point. I don't know. Bring in extra gemstones. Ditch a living end. Ditch. Go. Yeah, Walker's already gone, my man. Walker is well and truly and safely in my sideboard. Oh, sorry, Waker. I can speak. Alright, so we got a turn 2 creature again. We're going to keep. Gemstone Cavern starts on the battlefield again. I think I'll just get rid of the island. I think multiple cascade effects, despite only having 2 living ends in the deck. Probably reasonable. Yes, I shouldn't hard yield here. Oh, opponent with an artifact land in tapped. It's a slow hand. Cool, we hit our mana. I do actually see a pretty strong argument here for Violent Outburst in my opponent's next turn, depending on how many creatures he commits to the board. That could be really good for us. Demisha's Bauble. He was targeting us. Plays the Urza's Saga. Plays a Soul Guide Lantern. So cycle the Architects of Will. Alright, we'll ditch Childless Agent to counter the Soul Guide Lantern. And unfortunately, flooded out just slightly here. Alright, so we can hold up both Violent Outburst and Force Negation. Either works. Opponent sneaking in there, so two caverns on turn 0 and plus Force Negation backups. Lol, man. I'm sensing a little bit of upsetness, which is kind of understandable. I'm not sure throwing the Violent Outburst here is in the best spot. We only get 2 creatures. I think we can hold off for better. I think this is one of those like times while on living end, like, because my opponent's got an Ornithop to commit it to the board. That's all I'm wiping away. It's very low value here. Alright, opponent with a couple of constructs here. Making us nervous. Get Soul Guide Lantern. Wait, does that just go onto the battlefield? That's so fucking dumb. I've done this so wrong as well. I think I have to Violent Outburst now, even though it's really bad. Alright, I need to do that in response to the trigger. So my opponent can't Soul Guide Lantern the graveyard. That's so low to me. At least we get rid of like 12 power off my opponent's side of the board. Cool. Good draw. Nettle Cyst. We'll just go ahead and hardcast this one. Alright, making our land drops. We're not going to get mana leaked from our opponent. Don't worry, chat. We're putting in the hard yards here. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2-2 now? I mean, I could. I could Foundry Breaker, let it resolve, Foundry Plate it. Okay, we'll get rid of the Cranial Plating. One card left in my opponent's hand. I guess I can kill his lands as well, actually. I didn't think of that. That just highlighted his land. Oh boy. I can start making it hard for my opponent to Thought Monitor. If he plays nothing else, of course. Thoughtcast, never mind. Urza's Saga, here we go. I can kill Urza's Saga, actually. That feels kind of good. I guess with the way I did things as well, Alaska, I could have had Force of Negation up for my opponent's thing. If I'd have Foundry Breaker instead, and then he would have had a Cranial Plating on the board, and that's it. Yes. Mono Foundry Breaker beat down. This is so dumb. Kill the Saga. Kill it with fire. Oh, my opponent's gonna be so salty from this, man. He was salty enough before. Alright, well, we've finally drawn a cycle creature. It's potential for us to, like, hardcast this one. If our opponent goes for an effect, we can look to cycle in response, maybe draw a counterspell. What are we finding? Alright, opponent gets that one. Unfortunately, like, these two creatures just don't give a very good clock. Opponent finds Graveyard Hate. Springleaf Drum. Alright. Feels bad. He's actually offering the trade here. That kind of seems a bit loose to me. One card in my opponent's hand. I'm going to cast the Shardless Agent here, but choose not to cast the Living End. I just want a clock. I want to beat my opponent down. He's got 12 cards there. End him. Urza's Saga. Oh god. This thing does not quit. It's his third Urza's Saga this game. least now we've got a creature with decent power and toughness. Cast. Oh. That costs slightly extra than what I thought. Cast. Alright. Good times. We have lethal on board. Opponent is getting a lame token at instant speed. Can put him to 2. 2's like mostly good enough. Got like that 1/7 mana creature, so me playing the Botanical Sanctum here is slightly right. Watch him hate this one into the grave. Oh, he actually chooses the Shardless Agent. I think that's correct, by the way, that he goes after Shardless Agent in that spot. Therefore, if we do like another Living End, we wouldn't get 2 triggers to deal with his board state. See what he can do about this like flying guy here. And what he's getting off the Urza Saga as well. Fucking Shadow Spear. Oh, God. We're not beating that. Did we side out Brazen Borrower? I think we did. Yeah. Alright, we got a little bit longer this match. Then opponent leaves this one on defense, but it's got Summoning Sickness, so that makes sense. Okay, we can actually do some description of work here with the Violent Outburst we just drew. Game is still not over. It has still got legs. This is freaking crazy, man. Of course, our opponent's got Tormod's Crypt, so this is going to look like a very, very one-sided... So my opponent got Counter Magic here? Alright, we'll just go ahead and pay for that Metallic Rebuke. Cool. I wonder if I can write, like, a GG to my opponent here without being salty. If I can use that chat box without being salty. Well, we tried it. It was wild. I think it worked. I don't really think we want Fairy Macabre here. I'm still not super sold on Brazen Borrower, but maybe some number of copies may be helpful. I think we just mostly want to be a Living End deck. Cool, keep. Snap it up. Sand is fantastic. Got a piece of interaction, 2 cyclers, and a cascade spell. A mana, counter magic. Snap it up. Holy fucking, can my opponent not just have the nuts immediately? One fucking game, man. Jesus. Yep, force negation right on time. Alright, well, we're going to be a bit delayed here, but we can interact with our opponent's Soul Guide Lantern. We've also hit the force negation, which is really sweet. It was like very frustrating last game. I don't believe it's worth countering though. I also just realized the evoke's kind of bit silly. This is sorcery speed and I've just wasted 2 mana essentially. Alright, let's not make that same mistake twice. Opponent draws a card, of course. So hopefully he's got something blue to do here. It's like you always say... It's like we always say here, to crack your thumb in your nose. I have not heard that expression before, man. So like you're hitting yourself in your nose with your thumb? I'm not sure what. Surely there's like a very silly literal meaning to it. Violent Outburst seems good. I think we can get more value out of our cards here still. With another 2 cycle creatures in hand, we can get a really wild graveyard going here. It's a Dutch expression. Does it make more sense before it's translated? a lot of things like that don't translate very well, right? Let's look into Mystical Dispute here. Opponent doesn't attack with his 1 powered creature. It does not make any more sense to you than what it does to me. Gotcha. Let's go ahead and evoke another Foundry Breaker. I feel like we are absolutely in command this game. Destroy the Shadow Spear this time. Insta Living End. Man, that's for next turn. We might have double Force Negation back up next turn when we go for our Living End. Cranial Plating. I think we don't care about Cranial Plating. I wouldn't by any means call myself like an expert on the deck, but I think this is definitely a spot in a matchup and with how slow our opponent's playing where we are rewarded for being patient and building a better grave. Set a stop on my opponent's upkeep, and we'll go off then. Font overextended. What font? Are you saying I'm like overextended? I don't know. I think doing this upkeep is fine. Don't. It's already done, man. Sorry. I'm gonna like force a negate, pitching force a negation, and if my opponent's got another counterspell, we can still Shardless Agent. Alright, we just get all of the artifacts here. Go after this land, go after this cranial plating. We just have to win off that. It would be wild if we didn't. Okay, opponent concedes, and we go to 3-2. So essentially we just went 5-5 tonight. That's not the best result by any means here. Let's get rid of that thing. So I think there's a reasonable argument for Deadshot Minotaur here. I think with this current land base, we're maybe just like a little bit too blue to be running a red cycle card, but I don't think it's super awful. I think maybe if we just adjusted the land base. Do we even need to adjust it? We've got so many fetches, right? We've got 2, 4, 6 fetches, 4 Spire Bluff for now's 10, plus Steam Vents is 11 sources. Yeah, we might need a few more sources actually. Maybe if we like ease up on the Botanical Sanctums a little bit for a couple more fetch lands. 2 Botanical Sanctums out. Misty in. Flooded Strand in. So now we've got 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. Maybe an island out for a Steam Vents as well. And then I'm like not really that sure how much I liked like Walker of Waves just felt pretty bad. I could see an argument for going up on Living Ends as well here, because that was kind of awkward when we started drawing them. Maybe not the best reason to be bringing it in there. So I can easily remove things like the Glass Dust Hulk as well, and maybe an Architects. And that ought to be pretty reasonable. Still, this gives us like a another creature we can hardcast, because some of our other creatures, like the white-blue artifact creature there, we don't have white in our deck, we can't hardcast it. Sideboard-wise, it feels like we don't have a plan against some decks, and I don't like it. But yeah, I think you might be right about some copies of Force of Vigor. I kind of think like 3 Foundry Breaker is right. Maybe 1 Force of Vigor. You got the Fairy Macaibas there. Alright. That is going to be it for me though. I'm going to be jumping off. I think, real quick actually, I'll just crack the pack I got. It's nothing too exciting. Oh, we got 2 packs. So if you want to get something going, have a guess as to whether or not we go over or under in value. Might just do up a real quick poll, just for those points, right? The channel points. Not that they do very much at the moment. I need a how do I make my own poll request? Where did they fucking move it to? Start a prediction. Yeah. Over or under value? Over. Under. We are going to give a 30-second window. Super exciting and good. Now I should be able to view the poll here and hand out points and stuff. Slowest 30 seconds of my life right now. Force of Vigor looks good. Maybe it looks better than what I'm giving it credit for, but doesn't seem like crazy amazing to me. Alright, we currently have no votes. Alright, let's go ahead and crack these one at a time because I like the painstaking process of doing it one at a time. Alright, so we hit 25 play points and Master of Ethereum, so that is currently overvalue. I should probably quit while I'm ahead, but here we go. Let's run the second one. 10 play points, so we ended up with 35 play points. A Loxodon Life Chanter. And it's $1 million question. Was that over or undervalue? What was the creature I just fucking pulled? Master of Ethereum, right? Oh, okay. That is slightly undervalued. According to Magic Online currently, that is a 24-cent card. And I think the white one that we just pulled was probably equally as